Yeah. Hey. Unfiltered, no mask, no disguise. Real talk from the heart, straight truth in my eyes. From the pain to the pride, from the lows to the highs. This is Unfiltered with Nilo, where the real ones rise. Yeah. Where the real ones rise. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unfiltered, no mask, no disguise. Real talk from the heart, straight truth in my eyes. From the pain to the pride, from the lows to the highs. This is Unfiltered with Nilo, where the real ones rise. Yeah, where the real ones rise. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered with Nilo. So guys, I love the fact that you guys wanted to know more about last week's episode. It was a lot to take in, but this week I've broken down the specifics to give you the full picture. So last week I told you guys about my trauma and my story. This week we go a bit more into detail. This week I tell you guys exactly what happened. This is Unfiltered with Nilo, guys, and this is my echo. Okay, this was round about the time I was like 5 years old, 4 years old. As far back as my memory could take me, I don't really remember much. But I do remember we were staying in a bush. I do remember this bush because till today I can take you until there. I can show you exactly where it was. And I remember like my mom holding me when it was cold. And I remember how it was shaped, the color of the sheets, the grass, how long it was, the truck standing in the corner. I remember all of that. But yes, it starts with the time when we were staying in the bush. And one of my mom's closest friends, I'm not going to mention her name, called the social workers. This is the first time the social workers took us. And I remember that this was the very first time the social workers took us. So this friend of my mom felt that the living situation was not good or safe for us as children, because it was just me and my younger brother at the time, Gerard. We'll get to his story soon. So social workers came and they got us and they took us to this place of safety called the Jubilee Home. I don't really recall where Jubilee Home specifically was. I do think it was around Benoni or Boksburg, I'm not entirely sure. But that's the first home they took us to. I don't really remember the amount of time we spent there, but I do remember that my grandfather and my grandmom came and fetched us from there, and we moved to go and stay with them. This was in the northwest. They took us to the northwest. We stayed there for a good amount of years. I can't really recall how long, but I do remember why we were removed from them. I do remember the fault being from on my side. What had happened was, you know, this palisade fence, this concrete palisade fencing. I was walking on top of it and my grandmother told me to get off. I refused to listen. Continued, and then she took a stone and she threw me with a stone to get off this wall. Me feeling that I don't know who I thought I was, I picked up a stone and I threw my grandmother back with the stone. My grandfather was very upset about this, and I got the hiding of my life. Next day, the social worker showed up once again and then took us to Abraham Kriel. We were in Abraham Kriel for a good year. Yes, I remember we were in Abraham Kriel for a year. And we got placed back with my parents after that. Oh, I was so happy we got placed back with my parents. I remember this very well. I was in grade 5. I started Troyville Primary. But little did the social workers know that the situation had not changed. My father was still beating my mother. And we just grew accustomed to it. It was just like a norm. We know that when he drinks, she's gonna get hit and she's gonna go drinking, and it's gonna be from a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday it will only stop. We got used to it.
Is unfiltered with Nilo, where the real ones rise.
I don't know who phoned the social workers. Till today, I don't know who called the social workers. But when we got back from school that day, social workers were sitting in the lounge waiting for us. At this point, it was me, Gerard, and my mom now had another son, Gershwin. Social workers decided all three of us are going. They took all three of us and they took us to Eldorado Park. This time it was just a foster home. It wasn't like for a children's home. It was just like a normal house with a lady, and she was with her son, me, and my two brothers. We stayed there once again for another year, and we were placed back into the care of my parents. Once again, the situation did not change. Social workers came again a year later. But then me and my brother I was already in grade 9, going for grade 10, I was around there. And then we threatened the social workers. We said to the social workers, if they take us this time, we'll run away and we won't be found. So the social workers decided not to take me and my younger brother Gerard, but they still took my brother Gershwin. Gershwin was placed in foster care, and he was in foster care for like a good 4 or 5 years before he came home. So now, while Gershwin was still in foster care, right, the first year he went to foster care, I remember the abuse at homes did not stop. And now, me and Gege were inseparable. But I was moving on to high school while he was still stuck in primary school. I was going to grade 8 when he was still in grade 7. And then he eventually came to grade 8 and I moved to grade 9. However, we had two different sets of friends at this point. I had my group, which were these motivational people who try and better who I am and my situation. And Gege had these friends. I used to call him Gege. That was his nickname for me and for most people. But he had this different set of friends that were like, would make the bad choices, would want to experiment in certain things like drugs and alcohol, girls. But while the situation at home was escalating, it was becoming much, much worse. My dad at this point was no longer only abusing my mother, but he would abuse us as well, in the sense of when he used to hit my mother and we would try and defend her and jump in and try and stop him, he would put us out of the house, no matter what time of the morning it is. Let it be 2 o'clock in the morning and he's beating my mom and we try and stop him, and he'll put us out. Whether we sleep in the park, the pavement, the stairs, at a friend's house, he does not care, or did not care at that point. And then Gege started playing around with dangerous drugs like crystal meth. And his personality started shifting, and he couldn't deal with the situation at home anymore. And Gege started spending more and more time at a friend's or in the streets. And then Gege was gone for like 2 months, 3 months. And then he came back to the house. But this time he was very dirty. He had a smell to him. You could see he hadn't bathed in a while. But it was literally just the in and out. He came in the house, took my dad's phone in front of him and ran out. And that was the last time we saw him. The next time we saw him, months had passed, like a good 9 months had passed, And one of my best friends said to me, Nilo, you need to start worrying about where your brother is, because nobody can be gone for so long. You're either gonna find him dead, or you're gonna find him in prison. Go and look for your brother. That's when I first started dangling in drugs, because I got to the point where people would tell me that crystal meth keeps you up. You don't sleep when you do this drug. So I decided I'm gonna do crystal meth. I did my first puff, and it kept me awake for 3 days. I will never forget it. It kept me up for 3 days. By these 3 days, I was searching for my brother, and I just could not find him. Then I would smoke again. It continued like that until we found a police officer came to my house. I was not there. One of my cousins were there, and then he said to my cousin that they took fingerprints of this person that they found. They found him deceased, hanging in a tree, and the fingerprints led them to the police station because they had been arrested prior to this, and this is the address that came up, and they needed to go and identify, and my dad and my cousin went to identify. I was too angry and too upset to go with him to go and identify, because at this point I was blaming my dad for my brother's death. So I didn't go with him to go and identify the body, but then it was confirmed that it was my brother that was dead. And the funeral took place, everything went by, and I started using drugs properly. I let everybody know that I need 3 years to mourn my brother, and in this time I want to smoke drugs, I want to drink alcohol, I want to party, I want to do whatever I want to do without being lectured or told by anybody. And then that's what I did. Problem is, it didn't only last for 3 years. It went on for at least 5 or 6 years after that. And then the death of my father came. So prior to my father's death, I started dwelling onto more and more different type of drugs. And I was literally just living day to day without no care in the world. And then I came across the best part of me, the best version of me, my lifeline, Ricardo Warcraft. He didn't try and change me, he didn't try and lecture me or ask me, question me or anything. He literally just wanted to be in my space. He wanted to, at that time, he wanted to breathe the same air I was breathing. And I didn't know for what. I thought maybe he just wanted some ass. And I was like, I'm not gonna give him that ass. Which I did not. And time went on, and a relationship started coming. My dad, the one person that was always against my sexuality, me being a gay man, was always against it. He accepted Ricardo like without thinking twice. Ricardo had a small bit of time with my dad, but I'm grateful for the fact that he actually got to meet my father. And then we moved to Ridgeway, and then we got the news that my father had passed on.
Is unfiltered with Nilo, where the real ones rise.
So before my father passed, we moved to Ridgeway, and like we were staying in Ridgeway for like 4 months, and my father fell very ill. I personally think my father didn't get over my brother's death, and it really affected him, and he would not show it to the world. But I could see that my father was really hurt. And he started losing more energy, he started drinking more, his feet started swelling up, and then, I don't know, out of the blue, my father was collapsed on his way to go and buy himself a drink. He was rushed to hospital, and I think he was in hospital for like 2 weeks before he passed. And then my father passed, and he passed from renal failure, which basically he's lost the use of his liver and kidneys. They just stopped working. So yeah, then I lost my father. We buried him, and that was like one of the first emotional knocks I actually took, because when my brother passed away, I was high on drugs and alcohol, so my emotions were not what they were supposed to be. But when my father passed, my emotions were intact, and I remember it very well. I was broken. No matter the abuse he put me through, the hurt he put me through, I was hurt with his passing. And it continued. Life went on. So my father passed while we were still staying in Ridgeway, right? And the day of his passing, me and Ricardo decided, let's go to Bertram's and like sleep over for the weekend just to sort the funeral arrangements out. And because Gershwin is there, and Gershwin is staying with my mom and a family member. So yeah, let's just go and get things ironed out. When we get to Bertram's, we come to find there's tons of people everywhere, friends, family. We go, and I mentioned that, listen, yeah, I'm here for the weekend to help out where I can. And a family member of mine comes to me and says to me that, listen, you're Ronaldo, I just want to let you know that I'm not fixing this flat up for you. At this point, I'm knocked over. I'm shocked. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm not here for the flat. I'm here for my mom, my brother, and to ensure my father's funeral goes down smoothly. That's what I'm here for. That's it. The way I was so upset, we didn't even sleep over that weekend. We were there, and we went right back home. Anyway, funeral went down well. Everything was sorted. And this happened 2017. And right in the beginning of the year 2018, I won't forget it. Me and Ricardo on our way to our dealer to go and get some weed. And I got the sharp pain in my chest that something is terribly wrong with my aunt. I need to get a hold of her as soon as possible. I didn't have my phone with me or anything. The minute I walked into the house, my phone went off. I answered my phone. It was one of my friends letting me know, like, listen, Ronaldo, did you hear what happened to your aunt? I'm like, no. What? What happened? Which aunt? Like your Auntie Debbie. I'm like, no. Like, Ronaldo, your Auntie Debbie's dead. I got in the same shock immediately. I went ice cold, and I couldn't deal with it. Then I phoned back to speak to my Uncle Bruce to like find out what the fuck, because no one is contacting me to let me know. And I'm the closest human to this woman. And she's now dead. Apparently she was murdered. And I don't have all the full details as yet what happened to her. Then I rushed through to Bertram to find out what is going on. I'm angry with everyone because a friend lets me know when family members know this shit and no one lets me know this information. I come through, they are ready to take my aunt. They're busy taking my aunt, the undertakers. I don't have any information, I have nothing. It's fine, I have to go with it like that. I go back home, start phoning to find out what exactly happened. I'm getting different stories of she was poisoned, she was choked, and none of these are making sense. Till today, I do not know what happened to my aunt. I do know she was murdered, but I do not know if it was in the sense of poisoning, in the sense of choking. I do not know how. I do know that there are family members or a family member that does know exactly how she passed, but is refusing to let me know that information. But during the time of her funeral, I was hurt because it was like I was not thought about. I was not included in that funeral. I was not considered. I was not consoled. It was like I was last thought when I was the closest person to her. And even till today, I do not know what happened to her, but I do pray. I know it's wrong, but I do pray that whoever hurt her suffers or is suffering or is not even around anymore. I hope that person is deceased, like she is deceased. But I do pray every bad thing that the world has to offer falls on that person's plate. I do not know who that person is, And the way I feel, I do not want to know who that person is, but I just wish bad and nothing but bad for that person.
Is unfiltered with Nilo, where the real ones rise.
So now Auntie Debbie had passed and me and Ricardo are in Ridgeway. Vanessa's in and out of hospital. Gershon has now started his own road of drug use and all that. So now I only have one last option is I need to go move back to Bertram's before I lose my mom as well. So I bring up the suggestion that I want to move back to the flat because I have to look after my mother and the family is not taking this well. Remember, at this point, they had already told me that I am not moving back into the flat. The flat is not being fixed for me. And I should have taken it at that point. I should have known that it would have caused a problem. Because at the point where my father had passed away, the day he passed away, and I went through to the flat, I mean, like I mentioned, they had already painted the walls, but our personal belongings had already been removed from the flat that very same day. I mean, we found black bags on the pavement. There were my father's clothes, my mom's clothes, all of that type of stuff. We're putting black bags on the back stoop. So that should have been a sign for me already. But then when I mentioned to them that I want to move back into the flat, I first had to get 5 fingers through my face because what the fuck I'm doing is wrong. And I didn't see it as wrong. I saw it as I'm here, I'm trying to protect the family that I have left. In the short span of time, I have lost my brother, my father, and my closest aunt, the closest human being to me, I have lost. So I'm not willing to lose anymore. So I want to move back into this flat. Fine. I eventually moved back into the flat. Everything is cool. So now we're back in Bertram's, we've moved, and now our life situation starts happening. Ricardo's starting to have problems at work because he's working in the south, we're staying in the east. He's struggling to get to work and he's the only person in the house that's currently working. I'm dealing with my mother, which is suffering from dementia, amnesia, fits, epileptic fits. I've got my younger brother who is not listening to me. He's in and out in the streets. And 1, 2, 3, I fall sick. So at this point, I felt sick. Like I didn't know I was sick at the time. What had happened was, I remember coming from the bathroom, walking into the lounge, and everything was blank. Next thing I woke up and I was in hospital. I was in hospital for like 3-4 weeks, and then I got sent back home. I wasn't even at home for like a day or two, and then I collapsed again. But then this time I was rushed to a different hospital. At this hospital, they gave me medication. I was in this hospital for like 4 months, and they gave me medication, whatnot, and they sent me back home. When I got home, I was at home for like a week, and then I started getting these really bad stomach pains, back pains, my appetite, I couldn't eat, I couldn't stomach food, and then I collapsed again. This time I was taken once again to a different hospital. At this hospital, they came to find that the previous hospital I come from had been giving me the wrong medication for months. And this medication had been burning a hole through my liver. And now they need to repair this liver damage while they still need to work on my meningitis as well. I was in hospital for a good 8 months when I was sent back home. This was right, COVID just came to the end of the COVID when I got sent back home. Then Ricardo started like helping me along. I was in a wheelchair, I couldn't walk. Remember, Carlos not working either. We are hustling. Carlos hustling day to day, in and out for us to, make some, just so that they can feed the whole house. Then a family of member of mine came into the picture. Now he would come and fetch us on weekends to go to his house, and then Ricardo would like clean. And remember, I'm still don't have use of my legs or anything like that. I'm still laying there, but Ricardo needs to make plan for us to survive. So the family member had Ricardo cleaning his house, cleaning his toilet, his bath, cooking for him, in order to get money from him. That started going on every weekend. So every weekend we knew that we are going to this family member, we are going to party, we are going to have fun, but we're also going to get our payment from it. Remember, at this point I'm healing as well. The use of my legs are coming back, so I can even start helping Ricardo. I can help clean, I can bring my share, I can push my own weight as well. Then we got to the point where we started feeling like we're getting abused from this family member, because this family member started to throw shade at us, like stuff as like we are leeches, we are just there to benefit, forgetting that we are not only there to benefit, but we are there to work. That is the main reason we are there, it is to work. And then this family member turns around and says to us that you have such a big fridge in your kitchen that is always empty. Why don't you just sell it to me? That was a knock straight to the heart. And nevertheless, we still went back. I'm still recovering. I'm still not 100% there. I'm like 60% there. And we start getting taken out to places, nice places we've never been before, showing us the world. And then I asked, why are you doing all of this? Like, why are you doing this for us? Like, taking us to wild waters, places, it's costly, and you're not asking me for any money, and you're still paying me every week for cleaning your house and stuff like that. And he's like, no, to be honest, I want you to write down a bucket list of everything that you want to do before you pass away. And I'm like, whoa, are these people thinking I'm going to die? That was ammo for me to push to survive. That was for me to prove you wrong, to show you that I will make a complete turn from where I am. And then that's exactly what I did. But it was everything that we went through prior to that. I mean, like the abuse we faced there, I felt like it was abuse because you are my family. You shouldn't sit by and watch me suffer. You should be there and help me and fill my fridge, fill that empty fridge for me, seeing that you feel that it's empty and you've got the money. So fill it for me, as you are my family. I mean, you are the closest thing that was to my father. You are blood related to my dad. So yeah. And it wasn't, so that was another thing that was like, just moved me. But then I moved back, we stopped partying, Cara eventually got a different job. And we decided that Bertram's is not working for us, because now my brother has now been involved in a murder where he and his friends killed this boy, and he's been to jail. And he got bail. Now he's staying with us in the flat, but now he's abusing us in this flat as well, because he's going out and doing his drugs and coming back home and taking his shit out on us. I mean, like, if there's not enough food on his plate, it's our fault. So we decided that enough is enough. We packed up our stuff and we moved. I took my mom, and we told him, Gershon, we are moving at the end of the month, so you need to make proper arrangements to stay with your mom, because me and Ricardo, I think we've done our fair share. To come and find that Gershon is making prior arrangements to rent the flat out to other people. The back room is renting out and the front room is renting out, and him and my mom can stay in the lounge. And I was like, oh hell no, that is not happening. But then Gershon went and caught himself another charge of common assault and got himself arrested. and he now had to attend court for this case while he was in jail, while also attending the case for the murder charge that he got with his friends. A time went and I was attending court, and then Gershon got found guilty and was sentenced to 13 and a half years in jail. And with good behavior, you could do 7.5 years. But life continued, and then the next death in the family hit us, which was now my cousin Anastasia. So Anastasia's death came as a shock to all of us because Anastasia was never around. She was always on her own, living her own life. And then we heard she was in hospital and she was poisoned as well. And another situation where till today we do not know what happened to her, who poisoned her. Of course, there were rumors of who this person could have been this person, but it was never ever confirmed. And her case just went quiet, it went cold. And a few months down the line, not even a few months, a few months went past. And then her brother, Anthony, also known as Boboy, Boyka, was also murdered. And he was murdered in Jeppe, Troilo, also another little area around. And same situation with him, like he was murdered in the middle of the night in the streets, and there were rumors that were circling around about what happened to him, but it was never confirmed like Anastasia. And at the police station, same story, his case just went quiet, it went cold. But then his mom, my auntie Angie, she was one resilient woman. So she had friends at the police station, and she would not keep quiet, she would not stay quiet about what happened to her children. And she wanted to find out, and she continued going to the police station. She had her suspicions of who was at fault for the murder of her son. So she was going to the police station, just trying to get her evidence, get all of her stuff together. And then last year, we found Auntie Angie hanging from a palisade, rope around her neck. Some people saying it was murder, some people saying it was suicide. Till today, I don't know. And same like her son, her daughter, it's been a whole year later and everything's just quiet. Case has been gone cold. No one has been arrested for any one of their murders. And if I speak from a personal point, I do feel like she was silenced because she knew too much, or she was getting closer to the truth, or I don't know. But I do feel that way, and life happened, but it was really sad what we had to go through. The passing of 3 of them in a matter of 6 months. Yeah. So guys, we're in 2026 and it's been months since all the deaths. My mom's doing rather very well as far as her limits can take her. I do speak to my brother often. And as for me, I'm working, I'm healthy, I'm loved, and the journey continues from here.
Is unfiltered with Nilo, where the real ones rise.
So guys, this was my story and my journey, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I also need to mention that this was my feelings at the time and how it affected me. It was not a jab or a stab at anybody. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Unfiltered with Nilo, and stay tuned for next week's episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm your host Nilo. Thank you for watching. Yes!
I didn't learn hate from the streets, I learned it at home. Dinner table silence, I was breaking alone. They said family is forever, guess that came with a clause. Love had conditions, yeah, it came with applause. If I played pretend, if I lied, if I changed, if I buried who I am, if I scrubbed out my name. They said we don't hate you, we just hate your ways. Same damn knife, just a different blade. Every joke was a cut, they swore wasn't deep, but I bled in my room while they went to sleep. You don't get to call it love while you tear me apart. Don't preach about God while you break my heart. It fucking hurts when the poison's in the family tree, when the ones who should hold you won't let you be free. You say it's just words, yeah, words leave scars. I learned it in my life just to make you feel in charge. I'm done apologizing for the air that I breathe, for the way that I love, for the way I exist. If loving me is wrong in your holy book, then me blot your book. Take another look. Take another look. Oh, you raised me to be honest and hated my truth. Told me that's just a phase, like I'm missing a screw. Told me keep it quiet, what will people say? So my pain was your secret, but I carried it every day. Blood is thicker than water, yeah, that's real cute. Till you choke on your words and cut out my roots. You want me small, scared, guilty, ashamed, but I'm done playing your twisted little game. You don't get to break me, then call it tough love. You don't get to judge me, then look up above. Stop hiding your hate behind faith and fear. If love lives there, it sure ain't here. When the war is inside your house, when I love you comes with change yourself now. You say it's just words, yeah, words can kill dreams. From laughter into silence and kids into screams. I'm done shrinking just to fit your view. I won't bleed myself just to comfort you. If being myself makes me your disgrace, I'll choose my peace over your embrace. I'm not broken, I'm not wrong, I'm not your project to fix. I'm not your rumor, I'm not your punchline. Get over it, you can keep your perfect child. Fantasy, I'm choosing me. Finally, I'm choosing me. If I didn't hurt, yeah, I won't lie. I've cried real tears you'll never see in your pride. But pain made fire and fire made me stronger than your small-minded history. Family ain't blood, it's who lets you breathe. Who loves you loud, who lets you be. I'm done begging you to understand. I am who I am, I won't take it back again. Oh, oh, and I won't take it back again.